Welcome, grade 4. Our lesson today, inshallah, is Introduction to Decimals. Today we are going to study tenths and hundredths as a decimals. We studied them before as a fractions, but today we are going to study them as a decimals. If we have one whole, like in this figure, okay, and we divided this one whole into tenths or 10 parts, like this figure. So now we have 10 parts, okay? If we shaded one part out of 10 parts, then we can represent it as a fraction equals, yes, 1/10, okay? This fraction can be written as a decimal in the form of 1/10, 0.1, and it is called also 1/10, but in the decimal form. If we shaded two parts out of 10 parts, then our fraction now equals 2/10. We want to write it as a decimal. Yes, equals 0.2, 2/10. If we shaded three parts out of 10 parts, then our fraction will be 3/10. And the fraction 3/10 equals what as a decimal? Yes, 0.3, 3/10. If we shaded 5 parts out of, yes, 10 parts, then our fraction will be, yes, 5/10. And 5/10 as a decimal, it will be 0.5, 5/10. Pay attention, 5/10 equals 1/2. So 5/10 is the same as 1/2. If we shaded 9 parts out of 10 parts, then our fraction will be 9/10. And in the decimal form, it will be 0.9, 9/10. Notice that in tenths, the decimal point is one place after one digit. Now guys, let's study how to write hundredths as a decimals also. Okay, if we divide one whole into 100 parts, like shown in this figure, we have 100 squares. Okay, pay attention. If we shaded this part out of 10 parts, okay, one row contains, yes, how many squares? Let's count them with our eyes now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each row contains what? 10 squares. So how many completely rows do we have? 1, 2. So now we have 10 plus 10 equals 20 squares. How many more down? Yes, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 10 more than 20. So our fraction now is what? Is 28 hundredths. Okay? 28 squares shaded out of what? 10 out of 100 square. So we have our fraction 28 hundredths. We can rename this fraction as a decimal, like 0.28. And do we read it also? Yes, 28 hundredths. Let's shade another part. Yes. How many completely rows do we have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 completely rows. With what? With 70 squares. How many more down? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have now 5 squares more than 70. So the total shaded squares are what? Are 75 out of 100. So our fraction now equals, yes, 75 hundredths. We want to rename it now as a decimal. So it will be 0.75 or 75 hundredths. Okay? If we shaded this part, how many squares shaded now? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 squares shaded out of what? Out of 100. So our fraction now, it will be 600. Okay, write it as a fraction, 600. Equals in a decimal? Yes, 0.06. Be attention, not 0.6. Why? Because hundredths, we should put the decimal place after 2 digits. So put 6, then 0, then put the decimal point in order to be after 2 digits. Pay attention, guys. If we have a fraction 10 hundredths, okay, the shaded part now is what? Is 10 out of 100. So our fraction is 10 hundredths. Concentrate now with me. Yes. This space is the same. 1 out of what? Of 10 spaces. So 10 hundredths equals 1/10. So we have two equivalent fractions. Can we write them as an equivalent decimals? Yes, we can. 10 hundredths equals what? Yes, 0.10, 10 hundredths. And 1/10 equals what? Yes, equals 0.1. It's a rule now. 10 hundredths equals 1/10. What about 20 hundredths? Yes, I hear you. 20 hundredths equals how many tenths? Yes, 2/10. The same. 30 hundredths equals what? Yes, 3/10, and so on. Now, guys, we are going to study how to point a decimal on a number line. Look at the first number line, okay? It starts with what? 0, and the end with what? 1. So this number line for hundredths or tenths? Yes, it's for what? For tenths. How many spaces do we have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this number line divided into how many spaces? 10 spaces. So if I want to determine what is the fraction on this arrow, okay, let's count. How many spaces now to get this arrow? 1, 2. So we have 2 spaces. It will be 2 out of 10. So it will be 2/10, or in the decimal form, yes, 2/10. If I want to determine the fraction on this arrow, okay, let's count the number of spaces. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 out of 10. Means what?